Islanders travelled long distances to attend a big rally to commemorate their 3 years away from home. Many reunions were made at this big gathering held at Bellevue Stadium, Manchester.
For the islanders evacuated to the mainland during the Second World War, living so far from home wasn't easy. But their hardship was nothing compared to those left behind.
5 years is a long time.
You're dead right.
And it's for a time, after about 3 years, it seemed as if it was never going to end.
No.
What were you eating at that point? How had things changed in terms of food supplies?
I can only remember eating what I call rubbish.
Well, potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And veg.
Veg that you grew in your garden.
And leftovers.
And
Even maggots in the bread.
Oh, God, yes. We had this ration of rice. And, you know, we were, 4 of us in family. So you each had around probably a quarter of a pound each. I don't know, but something like that.
That was for the week.
Oh, yeah. And to make rice pudding, you put your rice in the dish you're going to cook it in and pour boiling water over it overnight. And it swells, you see.
Yeah.
But during the occupation, it used to do that. But the maggots used to come out overnight. And Mum would get up next morning to get this thing, and she would slowly pour the water out, and the maggots, but there was bound to be some maggots left, but nobody picked them out. You just had them pour the milk in, and that was it.
You were happy to eat it, whatever.
Oh, yes, we never thought anything of it.
Can you remember that feeling of hunger?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, we know what hunger is, and yet we didn't suffer like those in town.
No.
No way.
Oh, the people in town must have suffered.
Oh, my Lord.
You know, we were lucky. When you think of the poor old slave, the Russians and the Spanish and whatever.
Italians, you know.
I can still see them now.
I mean, they arrived in a terrible state,
Yeah.
eh? So
I can still see them now in the winter, the last winter in the snow, passing in front of home, with sacks on their feet, long-handled shovels.
yeah.
My father was always hungry.
Oh, yeah.
One night he wasn't hungry, and I thought, that's not like him. So I watched, and I don't remember, but he used a plate or just paper, but he put whatever he had to eat on the hedge. So the following night, it was my turn not to be hungry. And I didn't know this little Russian until after liberation. He came to the front door of our house, and he was dressed in uniform. He was a captain.
Wow.
I'm walking around the parish. Look at my friend, my little Russian. He's the captain.
And he was the man who your father and you had left food out for.
But I didn't know his name. I didn't want to know his name. He's just my little Russian.
It's best not to know too much, eh?
Had you been caught helping?
Oh,
Absolutely. You're not.
feeding the slaves?
You
Oh.
wouldn't have seen daylight again.
Oh, no.
You saw them on a daily basis. They were doing hard work.
Oh.
And they weren't fed, apparently.
Well, I went to school at St. John's School, and the slaves were staying in St. John's Hotel across the road. Now, we always went home for lunch, so called, and they would be queuing up for theirs as well across the road at 12 o'clock. But, you know, it was a little mug, enamel mug. I mean, like Don just said, sacks on their feet. They had coats that were 3-4 times too big with them, tied with a rope.
Yeah.
And they would shuffle along there,
shuffle along
for their soup. It wasn't soup, it was water with, I reckon, stinging nettles in to make it for cabbage and things like that. There was a patch of ground just before you get to school that was freshly dug. And he wanted to know why. Why has that been freshly dug? So they left it at that. But every Monday morning, and it was slaves, they found out, the boys found out, that those who had got it up to there threw themselves out of the window. You know, four stories high. When you've got nothing inside you and you fall that height, you haven't got a chance in hell. Nothing to live for, nothing at all to live for. And the Germans used to dig a hole in this little patch that was
corner.
there.
Bury them.
Yeah.